afternoon, beekeepers and bee enthusiasts. How you doing? It's another great day at the farm. We are outside the elderberry swarm hive, and they're still looking good. We're going to be taking them down really soon and putting them to a beautiful lands hive with a gable roof. It's going to be wonderful. So that's going to be coming up in the future. But for now, we figured it was time to come at you with another natural beekeeping swarm catching tip. And this is tip number 6, which is swarm caught. So what do we mean by this? So we've taught you a lot of steps that you need to take once you've actually caught to catch your swarm. But what do you got to do now that you actually have some bees? So first off, the number one sign we're looking for is, do we have constant activity coming in and out of the swarm hive? Okay, so as you can see in the elderberry hive, it's quite a community up there. They're looking good. There's a lot of bees coming and going. So we know we got a swarm up there. So what do we need to do now? Well, first off, whenever you've landed a swarm inside a swarm hive, the big thing you got to do is we got to have a little bit of patience. And what I mean by that is we need to wait at least 2 to 3 weeks before we take them down. Now, why do we do that? The reason is simply because when the bees first move in the swarm hive, there's no comb inside the swarm, or at least there might be a little that you've put in there, but they have not established any comb inside that swarm hive. So you give them at least 2 to 3 weeks to build comb on the inside. And once they do that, they will start to lay brood. They'll start to put pollen and nectar inside the comb. And guess what? This means when you actually move them down to a main hive, they'll be a lot less likely to abscond or anything like that, because now they're actually attached to that brood or whatever is in that comb. So another big thing to consider when you're taking your swarm down is, okay, if we take this swarm out of this tree, can we move it 1,000 feet away, or can we move it a mile away? Well, there's a big thing you got to consider when you're taking your swarm down. When you take these bees down, they have the memory of this location up in this tree embedded in their brain. So when the foragers go in and out and they come back and forth, they know that this is where home is. This is where a lot of them were born into this location, and so they know this is where they got to return to. So unfortunately, if you're to take this swarm hive down and move them 1,000 feet and put them in a main hive 1,000 feet away, what'll happen is you will have a lot of bees that will actually return to this tree when they're foraging, and they won't remember to go to the new location. So how do you get around this? Well, it's very simple. The easiest way you can do it, in our opinion, is wherever you put your swarm hive, that's where you put your main hive. So basically, you put that main hive within 30 feet of the swarm hive. So when you take them down, it's within 30 feet. And that way, when you put the main hive on the ground, the bees will be able to hear the sound of the buzzing of the main hive. They'll smell the aroma, and they'll be able to get home. And so that's what we do with all of our swarms. If you watch all of our videos, you'll see that we move our swarm hives down to hives that are about 30 feet away. So simple as that. Now, if you are, let's say you can't do that. Wherever you caught your swarm, you cannot put the main hive in that location. The other way to go about doing it that we've read, and it's a little difficult, is you have to take the bees, relocate them at least 6 miles away, okay? And then let them sit there for 2 weeks, obviously letting them forage and stuff like that. And then after 2 weeks, you move them back to the location, but to the new location you're moving to. And the reason why you go 6 miles is we know bees can go up to about 3 miles when they're foraging. And if you only move them like 2 miles away, then the new location you move them to, they could be flying around the woods and be like, oh, this is familiar, and then fly back again to that tree that you actually have the swarm in. So it's very important when you take those bees down, if you're gonna move them 1,000 feet or so away, you have to relocate them at least 6 miles away for about 2 weeks, and then you can move them back and go about your business that way. But again, for us, the way we've always done it is we just put them in a main hive right within 30 feet. For this swarm, I'm not sure where we're gonna put the laying hive, but it will definitely be within 30 feet of that swarm hive. And it's just as simple as that. And then after that, pretty much all you gotta do is get you a tractor or a ladder, go up to the swarm, close the entrance, take them down. You've seen our videos, we have a lot of them where you basically move the frames into the main hive. It's not hard, anybody can do it. It just takes a little practice, but you can definitely knock it out. And yeah, that's about it. So we hope you've enjoyed this natural beekeeping swarm catching tip.